In this video, I'm going to show you a couple things I've discovered since our last training that'll help you with SPOL. The first thing I want to talk about is how you actually get your standards. If you recall from training, I told you to go down to the accreditation module and click on View My Standards and kind of pull it up this way. What I've since discovered is that actually is the longest way to find your standards. So I'm going to actually show you a preferred way. One of the fastest ways you can find your standards is either clicking here, the accreditation button, and just simply clicking View My Standards. And that'll pull them all up, and you can see how quickly they populate. The other reason why this is a better choice is that if you go into a standard here, like I'll go into this one, and let's say I want to get out of this standard, I can go back to My Standards, and they pull up. The other way, you have very difficulty. You have to kind of go back all the way out if you've had any frustration with that. So again, what we're saying now, it's best to go into your standards either by clicking on the accreditation button and accessing View My Standards and then finding your standards, and you'll be able to tally back and forth between the actual standard, and you come back up here to your breadcrumbs and go back to My Standards, and that'll take you to your listing. This is much better. The other thing that you can do is just go right up to accreditation and view your standards here. This is really nice because you actually save a click. So if you go to in fact, this is what I usually do. So just go to accreditation, the drop down menu, and actually it didn't do it, but let me go back. I'll show you what I mean by saving a click. If I go here, then I save a click because all I have to do is click on View My Standards and it takes me there in one click. So that's really my preferred way. So hey, I just want to share it. The next thing I want to share is that you remember during training we kind of got stuck with building tables and it seemed a little bit difficult. So I'm going to show you something I've discovered. So I'm going to go back to View My Standards and I'll just go into one that I'm working on right now. And I'll go to one, I believe this one doesn't have a chart yet. Just started working on it. So if you can see, this doesn't have a chart yet, so I'm going to actually put the chart in because you remember for documentation you should build a 2-column chart, right? So I'm going to, of course, go to Edit, and let me just kind of bring this, see if I can bring this in view here a little bit better for you. There we go. Alright, so I am going to, of course, hit Insert, and I'm going to scroll down to where I need to be. Don't forget about the Insert part. And then I'm going to click on where I want to build my table, as you well know. So when I click on Insert Table, you remember before we were trying to figure out how to make the border. So all I'm going to do is build my chart. I always put in like 2 columns and 20, right? About 20 rows, because you can always add rows or delete them out. So I always give myself a healthy start. But here, one of the things I didn't realize before is that all I have to do is put in the number 1 for the border. So I'm going to hit OK and put in the number 1. And that's going to build my chart for me. And actually, this is a visible chart. You can test it by hitting Save. And now I'm going to close it out. And what I'm going to check for is whether or not you can see the line. So again, we're learning this as we go. So that's the easiest way that you can build in a table. It is very, very easy. To delete any item from your table, not from your table, but to delete a column, go back to Edit. I'm going to scroll down to find it. And then just right-click on the column you want to delete and click on it, and then right-click and just simply hit Delete Row, and it'll take it out, just as you see here. Again, click on the column, on the row, right-click and delete the row. And that's how you do it. And you can also, of course, add rows by inserting Insert Row below or above, and that's how you can bring more back in. Just play with it if you get anything weird like this just happen, and you can play with it. You can also, of course, delete the table by right-clicking as well. So I just wanted to share those 2 quick tips. If you find other workarounds and other quick tips, please share them so we can share it for the whole group.